Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, I am absolutely pumped for this one because today we're tackling something huge. We're talking about planning your very first international solo trip from India. Now, I know exactly how this goes down. You bring up going abroad solo at the dinner table, and immediately, bam, the practical reality hits. The very first question your parents ask, and honestly, the one echoing in your own brain, is "Kitna kharcha hoga?" Right? Like, how much is this whole shebang actually going to cost? It's the ultimate hurdle. But hey, today we're going to clear it together.
So, are you ready for your first solo trip abroad? Look, stepping off a plane in a brand new country completely on your own, it's the absolute dream. But let's just validate the anxiety for a second, okay? Because traveling on an Indian passport often means dealing with, limited mobility, mountains of visa paperwork, crazy logistics, and doing it all on a pretty tight budget. It can literally feel like a massive puzzle. But what if I told you it doesn't have to be? What if we could take all that chaos and turn it into a really simple, straightforward playbook?
Okay, let's dive into this playbook. Here's our roadmap. First, choosing your destination. Then, decoding visas for Indians. 3, safe stays and smart budgets. 4, navigating transport like locals. And finally, essential documents and security. Let's get right into it.
Before we hit step one, just consider this number for a second, 8.7%. Think about that. Only about 8.7% of India's entire population currently holds a passport. So if you have one, or even if you're in the middle of applying for one right now, you're actually part of this highly exclusive, growing wave of new global travelers ready to step out. It's a really bold move, and honestly, it's time to get out there. Which brings us to section 1, choosing your first destination. This is the foundation, right? Getting this right is absolutely crucial for a successful, affordable trip. Look at how cleanly we can break this entire process down. Pick a destination, secure your visa, book your budget stays, and sort your documents. Once you literally map out these stages, the cognitive load just drops. You don't have to figure out the whole world at once, you just need forward momentum. And that momentum totally starts with picking the right place. Now, take a look at these classic starter destinations. They're classics for a reason. Thailand, that's your easy mode, soft landing with budgets around 55 to 65,000 rupees. Bali offers amazing nature and villas for just a bit more, but look right there in the middle, Vietnam. For a culturally rich, highly scenic 7-day trip, your backpacking budget could be as low as 40 to 55,000 rupees. That's incredible. This is concrete proof that going abroad is highly affordable, especially if you target places with strong tourist infrastructure and friendly entry rules. Moving on to section 2, decoding visas for Indians. Now, for so many of us, the visa process is like the monster hiding under the bed. It's terrifying, but honestly, it really doesn't have to be intimidating once you just know the rules. Let's break down the 2 most accessible visa types for Indian passports. On one hand, we've got visa-free or on arrival. This is the dream, right? Minimal paperwork, lightning fast, and absolutely perfect for those last-minute spontaneous plans. Think places like Thailand or Nepal. On the other hand, we have the e-visa. You just apply online in advance, pay a low fee, and completely bypass that heavy physical paperwork. Countries like Vietnam, Azerbaijan, and Armenia are totally championing this approach. And here is a really clever hack regarding e-visas. There's this traveler named Monica from our sources, and she recently did a 3-week solo trip across the Caucasus. Since you don't actually have to submit your physical passport to an embassy, she realized, wait a minute, you can apply for multiple e-visas simultaneously. So she applied for Azerbaijan, Armenia, and Georgia all at once online, entirely skipping that agonizing traditional waiting game. Now, what's really interesting about this is the cost. Just $25, 25 US dollars. That's roughly 2,100 rupees. That is literally all it costs to get an e-visa for a destination like Vietnam or Azerbaijan. The financial barrier to entry here is just so much lower than agonizing over traditional visas to Europe or the US. All right, section 3, safe stays and smart budgets. We are directly tackling that budget anxiety right now. Let's talk about how you can keep your costs remarkably low without ever sacrificing your safety or the overall experience. Let's look at some actual numbers from Monica's 3-week solo Caucasus adventure. Take a look at this breakdown. Flights came to 30,000, hostels were just 17,000, and food was 13,000. Think about that. Her entire 3-week multi-country epic adventure came out to under 1 lakh rupees. That is just solid, concrete proof that if you make smart choices, long-term international travel is absolutely within your reach. A huge piece of the puzzle for keeping those costs down is, of course, where you sleep. Let's contrast your two best options here. Hostels are incredible for solo travelers because of that amazing communal atmosphere. Yeah, you're in shared dorms, but it's the absolute best way to meet other travelers and split costs. Airbnbs, on the flip side, offer you private space tucked away in local neighborhoods. Plus, you get direct access to your host's local tips, so you can actively tailor this to whatever your personal travel style is. But hey, regardless of what you choose, safety is absolutely paramount when you're solo. So here are your rapid-fire must-do safety checks before booking anywhere. Number 1, always read the recent reviews, not just the all-time top ones. 2, if you're doing a hostel, guarantee they have secure lockers for your stuff. 3, for Airbnbs, double-check for private entry or secure host access codes. And 4, always do a quick map check to verify the neighborhood is safe and well-lit. Stick to these rules and you're going to feel entirely secure. Okay, moving to Section 4, navigating transport like locals. Listen, acting like a local isn't just about getting cool cultural points, it is literally the ultimate hack to keeping your daily budget spectacularly low. Let's do a quick insider vocabulary lesson. Have you ever heard of a marshrutka? If you travel to the Caucasus, you're going to see these everywhere. It's basically a 13 to 15-seater shared van that just departs whenever it gets full. It's the absolute backbone of reliable, unbelievably cheap public transport over there. Almost every country has its own version of this, and finding it is your golden ticket to authentic local travel. And there are plenty of other smart hacks. In Vietnam, you can grab a sleeper bus for literally 500 to 900 rupees to cross the country overnight. You're saving on transport and a hotel bill. Or rent a motorbike for 500 rupees a day. And this brilliantly illustrates the power of hostel life. You can simply group up with friends you literally just met at breakfast and share an inner-city cab, let's say from Shakil T to Georgia. You're taking a huge expense and slicing it into tiny fractions. Finally, Section 5, Essential Documents and Security. We've reached the final critical step. This is all about getting your physical and digital paperwork locked down before you even think about heading to the airport. So the crucial point is this checklist right here. Go ahead, take a screenshot of this if you need to. You definitely need your return flight tickets, your hotel confirmations, and your emergency contacts. But please look closely at that very top point, the 6-month rule. A massive, massive mistake first-timers make is traveling with a passport that expires in like 4 months. Most countries will literally deny you entry at the border if your passport doesn't have at least 6 months of validity left, plus 2 totally blank pages for stamps. Seriously, do not overlook this. And right alongside your passport is your travel insurance. I love this quote because it hits the nail on the head. It's basically a safety net for the unexpected. Whether it's a sudden medical emergency, a canceled flight, or the airline losing your bags, this little document saves you thousands of dollars and an unbelievable amount of stress. Plus, for a lot of e-visas, proof of insurance is a strict mandatory entry requirement anyway, so yeah, do not skip it. To really bring this whole explainer together, I want to share this fantastic quote from one of our sources. If a trip needs too much explaining to your boss, your parents, or your bank account, it's probably not the right one for this year. I absolutely love that. Your very first solo trip should be accessible, it should be financially manageable, and it should be totally free from overwhelming stress. Start simple, use this playbook, and just build up your confidence. Which leaves us with just one final question. You have the steps, you know the budgets, you understand the visas, and you've got the safety protocols down. The world is vastly more accessible than you think. So where will your passport take you first? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Stay curious and happy planning.